Estranged daughter contact me out of the blue after 10 years, to dangle relationship with my grandkids, only to ghost me again, and I can't take it anymore and just disinherit her. The story of my life. I was a very troubled kid. I got into tons of trouble with the law, was in and out of jail, and had a terrible addiction to meth, shooting up daily. I never thought I was going to live to see 25, let alone 60. My last stint in prison was 4 years. That was my last brush with the police. Arrested in 95 and out in 99, it's been about 30 years clean. When I got out of prison, I owed $70,000 in child support. I dug myself out of debt with various jobs. Through hard work, I've amassed over $1 million today. My credit score is now 843. I did this all on my own. I busted my butt going from shoveling dirt and mud under crawl spaces to running the insulation portion of 60-story high-rises with 7 to 10 guys working under me. I'm now disabled from an accident at work, and I'm in the process of starting a non-profit that trains the neurodivergent to gain work experience. My second daughter today is neurodivergent. Rewind to about 1990. I had a child with a woman I thought I loved. This was at the height of my addiction. I knew we weren't ready for a child, and I relayed that. To me, this was a discussion, but it clearly meant more to her because she just left me and was gone. She didn't involve me in the birth. Maybe 2 years later, I had moved to the Northwest, and I found out she had moved to Florida to have the baby. We originally lived in New York. I got a letter saying I owed child support. My first child's name is Amy. When I got out of prison, I came back to New York and really tried to make up for lost time. At first, Amy seemed interested in getting to know me. But over time, I believe her mother poisoned her against me because of how much fun she saw me having with Amy. Over time, she became very angry and hurtful, going out of her way to be intentionally mean. I've spent the last 25 years trying to make amends, but nothing I do seems to work. For example, at one point, her mother said, "I can't handle her. You have to take her." So I took her in. She was about 15 even though I was barely able to take care of myself. She was so hard on me. One day during an argument, she said, "It doesn't matter because I'm going back with my mom anyway." I said, "No, you're living with me now." But her mother filed paperwork again and took her back. We rarely talked after that. When I did talk to her now and then, she would only ask for money, $500 here, $1,000 there. Until one day, I blew up and said she couldn't use me like that. She blew up back at me, slammed the phone down, and didn't hear from her for about 10 years. I was tired of trying to force a relationship she clearly didn't want. I figured she'd call when she was ready. In 2012, I had my second daughter. I swore I was going to do this one right, and I have. She's growing up right. She's growing up wonderful. Then out of the blue, Amy calls me back. I'm 60 now and says she wants a relationship. She wants to get to know the grandkids I've never met. I talked every day for about 3 weeks, and everything seemed fine. Then she just stopped talking. I sent her gifts for a birthday. I sent the kids 100 worth of gifts for Christmas. No response. I haven't talked to her at any length in 5 months. Yes. I've called her, and she says, "Oh, I'm just so busy these days, but I really enjoy how our talks." I feel like she's doing it again, possibly because she knows I'm older, knows I got hurt and I'm disabled, and wants to remind me that she's still in my life without doing the work of actually being in my life, hoping for some inheritance. The question is, am I overreacting? Overthinking? When I question her and she says she's just really busy, I think, in this day and age, we have cell phones on our hips even when we go to the bathroom. If you can't send a text every now and then, especially when someone sends you a massive number of gifts for Christmas and birthdays, what you're really saying is, you're not that important to me. Regardless of our relationship, she has involved the grandkids now, and they shouldn't suffer even if I don't ever get to talk to them or get a thank you. I know I screwed up. I screwed up her life. I've really tried to make amends. I have so much to offer her today. Her mother didn't involve me in the birth, and I was fully paralyzed by addiction, living on the streets and shooting up in alleyways. I had no control over my addiction. I realized this is not an excuse. I can't change the past, but I'm trying to make up for it. What more can I do? She's put me in a difficult place with the grandkids. My therapist says to just be happy with whatever I get from her and that when she's ready, she'll contact me. I send gifts, and I don't even get a thank you. It's not that I don't plan on leaving her anything, but I think $10,000 each between her and the grandkids, $30,000 total should be enough unless she really wants to involve me in her life and call me more than once every 6 months. Do I really have a right to expect some kind of relationship with her? She contacted me. She said she wanted a relationship. We talked for 3 weeks. Nothing happened on my end that I can see would have annoyed her enough to stop talking. And when I do talk to her, she says, no, everything's fine. I'm just really busy. Am I overreacting? Would you leave more as an inheritance? The thing I think about a lot is, yes, I hurt you. Yes, you have a right to be angry over it, but I never did anything to intentionally hurt you. She has gone out of her way to hurt me emotionally and to use me for money when she needs it. And every time I leave her is that much less my other daughter will end up with. Edit. For those comments about maybe she needed me to be more involved and visit instead of just calling and sending gifts, she lives about 6 hours away from me. I offered to visit from day one. She said no because she has a small place and said she would drive out before the end of the summer. That turned into Christmas and now into spring. I even offered to meet at a neutral occasion like Noble's amusement park halfway between us, but nothing. I would drive out tomorrow to meet her if she'd let me. I have no problem giving her $500,000 while I'm alive through reciprocal actions. Does she want to buy a house? I'll help with the down payment. Does she want to start a business? I'll review her business plan and help her start the business and front the money. But I'm not going to just give her money after my death when she is meeting me halfway so she can blow it all in a few years. I would rather help her today. But if that's not what she wants, then she doesn't deserve the money later. Now for the top comments. I would set up some sort of trust for the grandkids to access when they come of age. Nope, I'd give no direct access. Just specify what it can and can't be used for and have an executor who can disperse funds. I did one of those not too long ago. I did have it hand over to full balance at a specific but higher age because if they didn't have their life sorted by that point, nothing can be done. I wouldn't send gifts to them. She seems to be playing games. The damage is done. I would leave a token amount, say $100 each to acknowledge them, but also to make it clear that as the relationship has been strained and you are estranged, you don't want to leave them more. And then put all your money into a trust fund for your second daughter so it can't be manipulated into going to the first daughter. I would make it clear to the trust holders that your second daughter has access to the money, but things should be put into her name or the trust name to protect her in marriage and from financial abuse, etc. Not the whole. Your first daughter has a pattern of using you only when convenient, reaching out, getting gifts, then ghosting as emotional manipulation. $30,000 is more than fair considering her inconsistent behavior. You've tried repeatedly to build a relationship, and she keeps pulling away. Your second daughter, who you've raised right, deserves more of your hard-earned money. Your therapist is right. Keep the door open, but protect yourself financially. She needs to put in actual effort if she wants a real relationship, not the a-hole. You can do whatever you want with your money. Sounds like Amy is ready to be in your life again because she knows you now have money, a tale as old as time. But if she wanted his money, why break contact? Obviously, this would make everybody feel crappy and used. Opie should hear her struggle because, yes, he got out of his addiction, but it had an impact on her life as well. She didn't have a dad growing up. They should have talked about how to rebuild a totally new bond. I'm working on it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to change my mind regarding the money I gave my niece for her wedding? I gave my niece a decent sum of money for her wedding. This was 100% a gift on my part and have not regretted it. But my brother and sister-in-law want me to demand the money back from her for upsetting them. Personally, I think their reaction is over the top and extreme, but they are angry and their feelings are hurt. So maybe I'm being dismissive. The issue, if you can even call it that, is the wording used on the save the dates my niece and her future husband sent out. They gave their own names and listed the parents, but my niece listed sister-in-law as my brother's wife instead of as a parent. It's handled like this. The groom's parents are listed as parents of the groom names, while my brother and sister-in-law are listed as father of the bride name plus his wife name. She also has a section stating she's the daughter of the late her mom's name. My brother and sister-in-law feel like this is a big insult and demeaning to sister-in-law's role because she met my niece and her siblings when they were all under 10 and has been part of raising them. To be listed as the wife instead of as the parent has led to hurt feelings. Meanwhile, my brother is angry that his wife is listed as just his wife, while his late wife is mentioned as the mother. He feels this overlooks the role sister-in-law played. My niece doesn't regret her choice of words for the save the dates. And because they had multiple discussions after they were sent out and she hasn't apologized, my brother and sister-in-law believe it's wrong for me to fund any part of what they see as an insult. When I refused to demand the money back and I refused to turn against my niece as they wanted, they turned on me. They said I should be defending sister-in-law who raised my niece and the others. They said this decision has formed a crack at the blended family they built, and they fear all the other kids, including sister-in-law's bio kids from her late husband, will follow suit. They told me it should bother me, and I should want better for my extended family. They also ask how I would feel if any of my children did this to me. I don't really think I'm wrong, but perhaps I'm just too close to this situation to know. Am I that they are being ridiculous? Tell them to handle their business without dragging you in. The save the date card is totally appropriate and accurate. Miss Manners would approve. Read some newspaper wedding announcement wording for reference. Miss Manners would not approve of anyone telling you to retract a gift. And it also acknowledges the bride's late mother, which will be really important and meaningful to the bride. The second wife is butthurt about not taking the glory even when she isn't paying for it. Well done, aunt, for being loving, and tell them not to involve you in their pettiness. Not the a-hole. They listed what was true. This has nothing to do with you, and they're being completely insensitive to the fact that Denise wanted to honor her bio mom and stepmom and did. This is my feeling too. I'm glad to see others agree that demanding the money back is not something I should do. Not the a-hole. Wedding invitations are very formal, and indicating what everyone's actual relationship is to the bride and groom isn't wrong. What do they think she should do about her real mom? Just leave her off altogether? Lie to everyone and say the stepmom was the one who actually gave birth. She is showing respect for her stepmom by including her as dad's wife because that's what she is. You don't indicate what the niece's relationship is like with her stepmom or dad, but if they continue to push the issue, they will damage their relationship with the niece, their daughter/stepdaughter. They're trying to use you as a pawn to get what they want and are being incredibly selfish. Also, I don't think this situation formed at the crack. The crack was already there. My brother said she could have listed her mother still and listed sister-in-law as her parent. He said it didn't need to be so othering of sister-in-law and dismissive of the role she played. He feels the way she was listed is not good enough, and sister-in-law agrees. Just because step-parents play a role, doesn't mean they are accepted as a parent in a child's eyes. I hate when people call my stepmom my mom because she isn't. No one will ever take my mom's place. Last story. I had to cut off my mother because she wouldn't follow basic safety rules with my kids. I am the oldest of 3. I got married first and had kids first. My mother loves the in-ground pool in the backyard. She offered to babysit when I first was born. And because we both worked, we were happy to have free childcare. This went okay for 1 year. When my daughter was 2 and mom had just opened a pool, I reminded her, do not put the baby in the pool. You just opened it yesterday. And it is not heated. The water is too cold. Mom agreed, and I went to work. P.S. Mom is obese and has a lot of body fat that helps her regulate in cold water. The baby had very little. When I got home, they were both in the pool and the baby was shivering. We argued. I bought her this little swimsuit, and she was so cute in it. We had to swim, Mom said. She insisted the baby wasn't cold, but the baby got sick. At 3 years old, my daughter was having food allergies. When I dropped her off, I explained that she was having food allergies. We didn't know what from, and the pediatrician had her on a strict elimination diet, slowly adding foods to find which ones she was allergic to. Doctor's orders. Do not feed her anything unless it is in this lunch basket, prescribed diet only. Mom agreed. When I got home, they were eating cookies and cake. Mom said, grandmas are supposed to spoil grandkids. At 4 years old, my mom lost a child in a store while shopping. A week later, my wife lost her in a store. A month after that, I also lost her in Walmart and had to ask security for help. They called the cops who locked down the Walmart and started a lost child search. We found her hiding inside a camouflage jacket and sporting goods, which really, when you think about it, is a good hiding spot. So when I had a dinner invitation to meet with the VP and my boss to discuss promotion options and a moving bonus, I told Mom no shopping. She agreed, explaining that in addition to the 4-year-old, she was caring for a senior/Alzheimer's patient family member. When I arrived, Mom was getting herself and a senior ready to go out. She asked for the car seat. We argued about that for several minutes. She said I had to go to my important meeting, so I didn't have a choice. Give me the car seat, she insisted. I called my boss, asked for forgiveness, and canceled dinner due to a small family emergency. The job offer was rescinded the next day. Dad refuses to discuss it and went no contact. Mom tells the entire family/friends/neighbors/church that I refuse to see her for no reason. So 4 questions. 1. Am I the a-hole for going no contact? 2. Am I the a-hole for trying to talk it out for months? 3. Am I the a-hole for keeping no contact unless she apologizes and promises to change her behavior? She pulled the same food stunt on my brother's kid and my sister's kids years later. 4. The 4-year-old daughter is now 17. I have 2 more kids that she has barely met. Am I the a-hole for keeping no contact unless Mom agrees to discuss her behavior, apologize, and change it? You know, if there was an Olympic sport for ignoring basic safety rules, your mom would be a gold medalist. 1 gold and 2 bronze. My siblings have not cut her off yet, but they limit how much freedom she has with them. She is retired from competition now and is coaching other entitled boomers into selfish heights and parenting lows. Not to seem obvious, but, like, she breaks rules literally set by doctors because she doesn't care. I mean, the food allergy thing, I know it's probably unlikely, but she could kill your child. What's she going to say then? Well, grandparents are supposed to spoil grandchildren? Yes. They are, but not in a destructive manner. And she lies to her face about not going anywhere with your child, then throws you under the bus, potentially losing you an opportunity. Not to seem rude, but have you checked out the Race by Narcissists subreddit? Not saying she is one, but so far, the only thing that matters in her mind is what she wants.